Have you ever been in a situation where things didn't go to plan in the bedroom and then suddenly we start critiquing every aspect of what didn't work? We start replaying it over and over like a loop in our mind of when I did this, it didn't work, or why did that happen? Why did they say that to me? Why couldn't I get it right this time again? And we get stuck in this loop of self-blame. If this sounds familiar, then stick around to watch this video because I'm going to be sharing with you 3 steps of how we overcome failing in bed. So here's the thing, this is totally normal for our mind to go there and for us to do this. By asking all of these questions like, why didn't I get that right? Why couldn't I stay hard when I reached for the condom? Why couldn't I make them feel satisfied? Why did they turn away from me, or why did they react in that way? These are just some examples. But the reason why is because we're searching for answers. There's so much that feels uncertain when we're experiencing performance anxiety, and we just want certainty. We want to almost be able to predict how the experience is going to go every single time so that we know, is everything going to be okay or not? Now, obviously, this is an impossible question to answer, but by analysing it afterwards, we're stuck in this loop. Our brain thinks that if we overanalyze, we'll find answers and we'll be able to fix it. But the reality is we're still trying to fix something using the same tools or the same strategy that hasn't been working. If this is relatable so far, then I'd love you to put your experience in the comments below or hit the like button, because this will also help other men to see this who are experiencing a similar challenge. So what do we do instead? Here I'm going to go through 3 steps that you can start doing right now. These are easy and simple to do to overcome failure in bed and avoid getting stuck in this loop of overthinking. The first one is actually noticing what did work. So despite the fact that the sex or the intimacy may have not gone to plan, there would have been many things that did actually work, even if they're small things. And it's really important that we take time to focus on and think about, okay, maybe the whole thing didn't go to plan how I wanted it to, but there were some things that worked well. It could be the way that the partner smiled at us, or it could be the way that we built connection with them, or the way that we kissed them that they really liked. So I want you to intentionally search and find 2 to 3 things that did actually work, because when we do that, we're reducing the intensity of this blanket statement of everything failed, because that's not actually true. We're telling ourselves a lie. So it's important that we focus on the actual reality by giving ourselves 2 or 3 things that did go to plan. So that's number 1. Focus on what did go well rather than only looking at what didn't work. Number 2, I want you to start asking yourself, when you notice these thoughts, the overanalysis going through the mind, I want you to ask yourself this question: is this kind? Is this kind? This I found a very helpful question. It may seem overly simplistic, it may seem strange to ask yourself, but I want you to actually start doing this. When you notice this endless loop of overanalyzing, criticizing ourselves, making ourselves feel guilty, ashamed that we didn't do good enough, we should have done better, we should have known how to do it, I want you to stop and say, is this kind? Are these thoughts kind? Because the answer is likely no to that these thoughts are not kind. And if the answer is no, I want you to then ask yourself, how could I be kinder right now to myself? What are kinder thoughts? Because here's the thing. If a friend came to you with this challenge, I want you to actually imagine this. A friend, or even your child, okay, came to you, because this helps us to think about it in a different way, came to you with this situation and said, hey, I got with this person, things didn't go to plan in the way that I wanted to, and I feel bad about that, I'm not feeling good about that. What we would not do is criticize, shame, and attack them and make them feel guilty, right? If this was one of your best friends or your child sharing this with you, we just wouldn't do that, but we do it to ourselves endlessly and over again. So I want you to ask that question, is this kind? And if the answer is no, this isn't kind, then what can I say right now that is kinder? And that may be something like, okay, it didn't go to plan all of it in the way that I wanted to, but this, and this actually did go well. And I'm looking at new tools to be able to get this sorted. Before I cover the 3rd step, if you have questions that you feel are unanswered related to performance anxiety, below in the comments you will see a link to a live chat, and I've set this up so that you can message me with your questions directly and get them answered. This is an important step when we're getting this fixed, is to be able to have questions answered that are specific to us. So if you head below in the comments, you will see the link to the live chat. You can click on that link, it will take you straight to the page where you can send me a direct message. As soon as I'm online, I will answer your personal question so that you can start getting the answers that you need to get this sorted. Okay, and step number 3 is to avoid forcing ourselves, avoid forcing and pushing ourselves into intimacy. If we are at the point, see if you can relate to this, if we're at the point where we're feeling like I've just got to get it over and done with, or sex feels like more of a test than something that's actually enjoyable, or we're feeling like I've just got to push through and force myself, all we are doing is breaking trust with ourselves in that moment. We're actually compounding the stress, compounding the pressure. Sometimes we can get over the line. Most of the time that doesn't work for us. The thing that we don't want to happen happens. We lose the erection, we climax too soon, we don't climax at all, whatever it may be. So that strategy is not one that's actually working. I know it is difficult to listen to this and think, okay, don't force myself into it, but I still want to be able to do it. So how do I change that? I'm going to come on to that in a second, but the first step is to stop forcing ourselves into it, because this is actually making the situation even worse. Nothing's going to get fixed whilst we're trying to force ourselves. So what do we do instead? We must get to the bottom of what's going on for us personally. I've developed something called the Performance Anxiety Quiz, which you may have heard of, but if you haven't already taken the quiz, now is the time to do that. This is a free quiz. It's 10 yes or no, very simple questions that you answer. This will show you what is going on for you personally and what needs to happen to start getting this sorted. You'll be able to get a free 3-step plan to get performance anxiety fixed. So if you haven't taken the quiz already, below in the comments, along with the link to the live chat, you'll see the link to the Performance Anxiety Quiz. When you click on the link, it will take you straight to the page where you can take the quiz and get your free 3-step plan to get this fixed. Okay, so to recap on those steps. Number 1, notice what did work. Find 2 or 3 things that did actually go to plan. Number 2, ask yourself, is this kind? When we're in that cycle of blame, shame, should have done better, could have done better thoughts, ask ourselves, is this kind? What's a kinder thought? And number 3 is avoid forcing ourselves into it. We must find a different strategy that actually works rather than trying to push through and use the same strategy that isn't working. I look forward to seeing you at the Performance Anxiety Quiz.